The following program is a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and are not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Elder Answers. This is the show where we get together every week and we discuss the major issues facing seniors in the United States today. Hi, everybody. This is Elder Law Attorney Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. And for over 25 years, we've been serving middle-class families throughout all of California when it comes to doing quality estate planning and having the ability to avoid probate or to protect members of your family or protect your grandchildren if that's an issue in your life. To avoid the expense and the delay of probate, a process that can take literally 18 to 24 months to settle even the most modest of estates and cost thousands and thousands of dollars fees needlessly when there was an alternative the entire time that could have sped the process up. Or to face the issue of long-term care. You don't have to handle that issue alone. The federal government signed into law a program the same day in 1965 that it signed into law Medicare, granting health insurance coverage to people age 65 on up in the United States, the fulfillment of a promise that had been given to our wartime veterans. And finally, in 1965, the promise was fulfilled. Now, that promise has turned out to be something that is more than just health insurance. It's actually resulted in, according to statistics, because of Medicare, people live longer today than they ever have in the history of the United States or the world, for that matter. And as a direct result, people, for instance, men will live about 5 years longer today than they did in 1965, and women will live up to 7 years longer than they did in 1965, all because of Medicare. They have access to medical insurance that provides them superb medical care. Now, the same day they signed that action into law, they signed another program called Medicaid. Medicaid is called Medi-Cal here in California. And that program was designed initially in its formation as providing protection against a catastrophic illness for middle-class families. It's not welfare. It's never been welfare. But what it is protection from a catastrophic illness. And we'll talk a little bit later on about what is a catastrophic illness. In 1951, the Veterans Administration enacted a program, a benefit called a pension, that was a granting of a pension, an income supplemental program that accrue to veterans who have served during a declared period of war. Of course, they were responding to the veterans coming home from World War II, but there were plenty of World War I veterans were in our society at that time as well. Not only did that benefit accrue to the veterans to help them defray the cost of long-term care, but it also accrued to their spouses. Very, very unique program in or out of the VA. But considering that the Veterans Administration focuses on veterans, to have a benefit that accrues to the spouse of a veteran is wonderful. And as a direct result, people have been able to access that benefit. And as time has gone on, our wartime veterans population in the United States has continued to escalate. It escalated from World War II, of course, into the Korean conflict, into Vietnam, and now the Gulf, a war that is still open-ended as far as the federal government is concerned. That's a lot of veterans and a lot of spouses that have seen the ability to access long-term care benefits that can really make a difference in keeping a vet or the spouse of a vet at home or in a nice assisted living. And so that's been our goal, is to reach out to middle-class Americans to help them with these kinds of issues, to help them get information that is accurate, information that is on point and relevant to their particular situation, so that they could make good quality decisions for themselves and their families. It's not our role to determine that you should do A or you should do B. we consider our role to be that you should have all the information that's necessary for you to make that choice so that you'll have a clear understanding that what you're doing is in your best interest. That's our role. Now, the way we've always done that is through introducing these concepts to you here on Elder Answers. Week in and week out, bringing you information that is relevant, is accurate, and it's the kind of information that you can actually use. In addition to that, we've always conducted workshops. We used to conduct 4 workshops a month located in Palm Desert, and we've literally had hundreds and maybe thousands now that I think about it, people that have attended those workshops to gain information, to get free written materials, to take home reference materials that are really, really valuable to them personally. And so we've been able to do that and to introduce them to what their rights are, how they can protect themselves and their families. And then that was always backed up with the people who attended those workshops were entitled to a free consultation face-to-face across the table with an elder law attorney so they could discuss their particular situation and how it could be improved or how it was okay or what they should be anticipating coming down the road. Well, that obviously has changed. The key component here has changed is as follows. Number one, we're still here talking to you on the radio, and we'll continue to do that. We will continue to bring you this information. What we cannot do is invite you to attend in person a workshop. That's untenable in the world that we live in today. It's unsafe. It doesn't work. We can't do that. What we can do, though, is a substitute for that. You, our valued friends and seniors and people that are taking care of seniors, is the opportunity on a weekly basis is to enjoy a short, succinct, but information-packed presentation online. Now, we reviewed all sorts of different types of formats to use. The Zoom meeting, which is a bit of a jungle in my opinion. People bouncing off the walls, waving at each other, looking at their phones, all sorts of things going on. That's not tenable for us or our clients, we discovered. And so we use a different format, but the format is exceptionally simple for you to participate in. All that's really necessary for you to do is to go to our website, www.calelderlaw, CAL-ELDER-law, LAW.com, calelderlaw.com. Go to our website, or if you're really not comfortable with that, you can simply pick up the phone and call 760-422-0404, 422-0404, and that will enable you to talk to somebody who will give you all the access information and get you logged in so that you can participate. And the reason we are doing it this way is as follows. First of all, I don't know about you, but my experience has been it's hard to sit through a long, drawn-out presentation online and stay focused and participate. Now, when we did our in-person workshops, we were interacting with each other personally. I was standing there, you were sitting there, you had a question, you blurted it out, I had the answer for you right away. We sort of kidded each other a little bit. We had a personal experience going on. That is no longer tenable as a group. So now what we do is we have short, succinct presentations. We're talking about somewhere in an area of about 15 minutes on a whole series of topics. You can go, you can listen, you could send me by email, you can send us an email, and if you have a particular question, your adult children can participate. They can sit in on one of these as well. And then we're posting all of these up online so that if we're building a library, if you will, of different issues that may be relevant to you. Now, what will be online will be a whole stream that would start in the beginning and go to the end like our regular workshops did. But if you don't have the time for that, or you don't have the patience to do all that online, you can always sit down and listen to the parts that you think are most relevant to your questions. It's a great tool as well. So often we have a relationship with our clients that their adult children want to participate in it, but they don't live here. They live in Orange County, or they live up in the Bay Area, or they're up in Oregon, or they're back in Chicago or Texas. And so when that happens now, they can sit and participate in this process right along next to you. And so you can count on their good counsel to support what it is you think you need to take care of, if that's appropriate to your family situation. Many people do feel that way. A lot of times what ends up happening is that people come into town over the holidays to visit, and they want to go talk to the elder law attorney that mom and dad are using, so that they have a name and a face and what's going on and what should we expect. Well, we can do all that electronically now. So they can be sitting in Dallas, or they can be sitting in Seattle, and we can do exactly that. And that gives you a sense of comfort, we have come to find out, to know that you're getting that kind of familial support when it's appropriate for a person that has that kind of a family relationship going on. The other thing is necessary in this process is for you to be able to sit down eventually across the table from an attorney that can go through your particular set of circumstances. We can do that a couple of ways. The way that most people seem to be comfortable with is that they're going to fill out a short, succinct intake form that gives us information that allows us to understand what's going on with you financially and with your family. With that in hand, we can then move forward and create a conversation, either electronically or in person, that will be effective for you, so you have a good understanding of what's going on and what's the best thing for you to do for yourself.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info.calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. This is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center, and you're listening to Elder Answers. And what we're talking about is how we communicate in this new world that we're all living in. How do we make sure we're safe? How do we make sure here in our office that you are safe, that our staff and myself are safe? But still, how do we get this information to you? Because I'm here to tell you, experience is telling us how important this is for you to address, and how important it is for you to address this ahead of time. We have a client that he and his wife were 25 years ago, one of my very first clients out in the San Fernando Valley, a wonderful guy, a wonderful couple, actually, very nice people. And she has passed away a few years ago. We took care of some stuff for them. He's always comes back. He likes to sit down. He likes to go through the details a little bit. And that's all part of our relationship with our clients, by the way. We keep the door open. If you have a question, you can pick up the phone and call. If you want to come in and sit down, you can do that. Nobody's going to send you a bill. We want you to feel comfortable. Then you've got the information, and if you need that, get it uploaded, we'll do that. If your kids need to find out what's going on, we'll do that. Now, if your kids are living in a different city, if they're living in a different state, we can do that electronically. It's very easy for us to do all that. And so now what ends up happening is that we're getting to the point with trying to figure out what's the best way of communicating with you. And here's what we've come up with, is that on a weekly basis, we have these short, succinct meetings. Now, many of you are used to the idea you went to the workshop and you absorbed a lot of new information. You didn't know you were entitled to Medi-Cal. You'd always been told for you to get Medi-Cal, you had to be broke, that you couldn't have anything, that they would take your house. All of those things are wrong. All of those things are inaccurate. And all of those things, you should never trust the facility who's making a profit off of you to provide you with the accurate information. You don't know what those rules between Medicare, acute health insurance coverage, and Medi-Cal, the potential for long-term care coverage. You don't know the relationship between those two. The people at these facilities are not giving you accurate information. It's a shame to say that, but it's the truth. It is the truth. And the truth is that you are going to experience everything you're entitled to based upon what you did ahead of time and prepared for this moment, and or whatever your children typically can come in and salvage given the situation that you're in. Now, this couple, our relationship has been 25 years. We moved our office a few times over the years, and then I moved out here, and so did they. And then she passed away, and he's recently been had to go into the hospital for surgery. And he was over at the rehab unit here in the Coachella Valley recuperating. And he was doing okay. He picked up the phone and called me, and as in his style, he wants to know what's going on and the details. He's that kind of a guy. And within 2 or 3 days, he asked his daughter to come over and have a conversation with us so that we could get ready in case things sort of went sideways at his age and in his condition, recuperating like that. Yesterday, his daughter called us up, and he's tested positive for COVID-19. Nobody in the building is positive for COVID-19. None of the workers are positive for COVID-19. He is positive for COVID-19. Last week, his daughter took him to his cardiologist for an appointment. And of course, they check the temperature, they go through the whole process. And now they are in a situation that they're going to have to do a whole lot of tracing and keeping track of who's who and who's suffering from what. And it gets very, very complicated. Here's what's really complicated. Documentation that Stan could have signed is probably not going to be viable anymore. He had to be isolated. There's nobody can go in there. You can't get anything notarized. And now we're trapped. What's not been trapped, which is not delayed, which doesn't suffer from COVID, is the bill. The bill doesn't stop. The level of care doesn't stop. The fact that you have to pay for it when your days run out in Medi-Cal does not stop. And now you're talking about the average cost to be in a nursing home for 1 month in the state of California, according to the Department of Health Care Services, that's Medi-Cal, is $10,298 a month. A month. Now we're confronted with a scenario that how in the world are we going to make that work? Well, it's going to take some real gyrations, believe me. It's going to be very, very difficult, if even plausible, given the situation. And of course, the reason is that nobody's ever lived through this. Nobody has ever known what they're supposed to do in this set of circumstances. And we're going to find out, aren't we? Because this is not the first case we've had in a nursing home that's developed that kind of a problem. If you are confronted with these kinds of issues, when do you think's the best time to address all this? Let's get real here with each other. You know, and I know, you need to take care of this ahead of time. If you're in crisis, we've got a real problem. We have a client who is in a skilled nursing facility, a stroke victim. He is in a debatable situation with regards to his ability to eat. He desires to eat. Doesn't seem like that big of a demand, does it? But he has a particular problem as a stroke victim in swallowing. He has been eating. Amazingly enough, he has been eating. His physician is nowhere to be seen. You can't find him. The physician is through an HMO, can't get into the facility, and even if they could, they probably wouldn't. And so the physician that the facility hires and the facility pays went in and did a review of his situation and came to the determination that he could take soft food. He could do that. That recommendation, according to the management of the facility, has been rejected, and they don't want to do it because they're afraid of having liability if something happens, if he aspirates and he develops pneumonia. Now, they're not doctors. They didn't make a recommendation. His brother is trying to, and is his agent and is responsible for him. He can't get the medical records. They won't give him the records. They refuse to give them to him. Well, apparently this particular facility is unaware of the fact that there are regulatory avenues that this family is going to be able to take that is going to cause a full-fledged investigation of that facility. And that's what it's going to take. But, you know, if you don't have that information, you never get to do that. That doesn't happen to you. You just have to go along with it. I will tell you something you will hear over and over and over again. When you are in one of these facilities, they will come to you and say, you're here, Medicare is paying for your care, you have an X number of days, when those days are up, you're on your own. Medicare won't pay anymore. Why? What is the determinant? Well, you're not improving. You have to improve. Medicare won't pay if you don't improve. That is not just wrong information. That's disingenuous because they know better. Not only was there a case about this 2 or 3 years ago, every facility, every chain operator in this country knows what the rules are. The rules are you have the right to remain at that level of care to maintain your well-being. If you are confronted with these kinds of conversations, you have almost zero chance of prevailing because they are not going to provide you with accurate information. We've had people that have been denied access to their loved one in an assisted living. The individual was struggling. He was on hospice. He was transitioning. That's a nice way of saying he was dying. It was obvious. His wife went in to see him. His sister came down from Northern California to say goodbye to him, even though his condition was such they could barely hear them or understand them. That didn't matter. They wanted to hold his hand and be with him. After 1 hour, she was informed, the wife, by management that she had to leave the facility. And if she didn't leave the facility, they were going to escort her out of the facility. The sister never got to come in. Now, he was negative. The wife was negative. The sister was negative, all recently tested. Wearing a gown, wearing a mask, didn't matter. Out you go. She came back later that evening to visit with him, and she was escorted to the room, mask, gown. They opened the door, and her husband was laying there dead under a sheet. It was 7 o'clock at night. She turned to him and said, "When did this happen?" They said 6 o'clock. She said, "You never called me. You didn't call me. Why didn't you call me? Well, we called the hospice provider, and we're waiting to get an answer from them first. Let me tell you something. If there's a mortal sin in the field of medical care, it's allowing the family to walk in on a body. Quality nursing, staffing would never, ever tolerate something like that happening. And it took place at a facility that this woman had spent $400,000 over the last 4 years providing care for her husband. And what she got in return was she was denied those last few precious minutes to hold her husband's hand, her husband of 35 years, as he passed away. There's no way to fix that. There's no way to unwind that clock. And had she had the opportunity to have some counseling and some information, this would not have happened to her. And it would not have happened to her husband, and it would not have happened to her sister-in-law. But you have to be on the right side of the information.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info@calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. So this is Michael McGuire with the California Elder Law Center. So how can you protect yourself? Well, as I have been telling you, the best way to do it is to go to www.cal-elder-law.com. cal-elder-law.com. And on the website, you can register for one of our weekly sessions in which we cover a particular topic and begin the ball rolling for you. You can go to the website and see previous sessions and what the topics were to see if it's relevant to you. You can listen in. You can, after you have gone through that process, if you need to come in and see us, we want you to know what you should expect when you get here. When you get here to the office, first of all, you should understand the precautions we have taken to protect both you and ourselves. The process that we take is that the room is entirely disinfected prior to every consultation we do. The table, the chair arms, the chairs themselves, everything is wiped down with a highly effective disinfectant. We have placed an acrylic shield. We can see you, you can see us. That is a shield that goes down the middle of the conference table. There's a small space at the bottom to pass documents back and forth, but it allows us to sit across from each other in a room spaced out appropriately so that we can have a conversation. You can be wearing a mask. If you would prefer, we will give you a face shield and then you can maybe let the mask sit down around your neck. And that way we can look at each other and we can talk back and forth in a way that's very, very effective. It allows us to have a conversation. It's more comfortable with the face shield, in my opinion, but that's a decision on your part. If you want to keep your mask on, that's absolutely 100% fine with us. We have a air purifier and air filter in the room to constantly filter all the air in the room as we are meeting. We keep that on prior to the meeting, we keep it on during the meeting, and we keep it on after the meeting and it will recycle the air. We have 2 or 3 choices with regards to conference rooms here in our offices. We have a library that can hold up to 6 people, spaced out appropriately. We have a large conference room that we can hold out, and everybody can be fully separated from each other. And we have a smaller conference room in which, if it's a couple coming in, the 2 of you can sit there and be spaced out from me or somebody else on the other side. Our documents, all these documents, need to be notarized. We have access to 3 notaries here, all of which will be their documentation. The ballpoint pens we will be using has all been sanitized prior to you touching anything. You will have the opportunity to sit across from a notary that's fully masked, face shielded, and protected. So we have done everything reasonable now to afford you that opportunity to come in for the consultation to be able to go over your situation. More and more what we're finding is the message that your documents, if they're older, may not work as well as you thought they were going to work, given what's going on today. It's a pretty safe bet if you have spent the time and the energy to put together an estate plan, and during the course of having that estate plan put together, did you have a conversation with whoever was doing those documents with regards to how to access Medi-Cal? Did they discuss how you could transfer assets, large amounts of assets, and to be assured of A, qualifying for the benefit, and B, avoiding a lien against your assets when you pass away? Did you have that conversation with the person who created your documents? Did that person talk to you about the importance of your durable power of attorney for personal and financial matters? Did they go through the process of explaining to you the language in the documents that you have and how they relate to you accessing public benefits, whether it's through the Veterans Administration, or whether it's through Medi-Cal, or whether it's just to defend your rights as far as somebody taking over your financial affairs in the event that you become incapacitated? Did you have that kind of a conversation? And the reason I can say that this is so critically important to you is if you did not have these kinds of conversations, it only stands to reason that's because those kinds of protections were not part of your document package. Let me be very, very clear about this. That does not mean that the job that was done for you to address estate planning issues, special need trusts, sprinkling trusts for your grandchildren, how to avoid all sorts of different issues, excluding people, adding people, making charitable contributions, all those kinds of issues. And first and foremost is appointing a trustee that would take over your business when you have passed away, and as a direct result would be in a position to avoid the probate process. All those things are in those documents, and they are excellent, I'm sure. They were done by a professional, hopefully by an attorney. Then you can count on that they were probably done very, very well. That's not the issue. The issue is those documents perhaps do not include the expansion of benefits and entitlements and empowerments into the field of elder law so that you could access $120,000 a year in long-term care benefits if you needed to spend some time in a nursing home, that you could access up to $26,000 tax-free from the Veterans Administration to permit you to stay in your home. Or if in the case of my mother, my father was in the Army Air Corps, my mother fell down. She had to go into assisted living. My father had died 4 years earlier. But as a result, she got $14,000, $15,000 a year tax-free to help pay for her stay in a beautiful assisted living. And so these are the kinds of issues that what you're talking about is not that you didn't get everything that you paid for or what you bargained for. It's that now you need to recognize, you need to expand the ability of these documents to protect you and shield you and your family to do one thing. There's only one thing we're trying to do here, and that's to upgrade the quality of your care. Upgrade the quality of your care and not go broke doing it. You don't have to, but you have to know the process that all these government agencies go through. It's all based upon, one, am I eligible? That's a question of your income. Two, am I qualified? That's a question of your assets. And three, did you fill out the application correctly and protect all those steps that you took? Are you able to argue, if you have to the government agency you're within the four corners of the rules? You know, the Medi-Cal application online is now 29 pages long. 29 pages. It is insane to expect elderly people in the United States to participate in a process online that requires them to complete 29 pages. 29 pages. This isn't designed to protect you. This isn't designed to keep you safe and from destroying you or your spouse financially or completely destroying the legacy you were hoping to leave for your family. That's not what this is designed to do. This is designed to make sure you don't get a dime, even though you've been paying into that system for years and years and years. That's what we do at the California Elder Law Center. We preserve your rights. We enforce your rights. We are willing to go to the final stage of adjudication in order to make sure you get your rights. We over and over again are filing for fair hearings in front of an administrative law judge. And usually what ends up happening, it doesn't go to the full hearing because somebody has to review the file and somebody is going to acknowledge that no, what they did was exactly within the four corners of the rules. So that's what you're trying to accomplish. If you're a veteran and you have any desire to pick up the $2,200 a month tax-free that can be used to keep you at home or to pay for your memory care unit or anything like that, you need to plan ahead. You can't wait until the day of. That is over with. The Veterans Administration slammed that door shut in your faces on October 18th, 2018. You must plan ahead. If you plan ahead, both you and your spouse can count on getting those funds. If you wait, you'll be stuck. You will be in a situation in which you simply will not be able to access those funds. That's a disgrace, but that's the rules. It's up to you. We will give you the information. We will provide it for you by going to the website or calling 422-0404, 422-0404. Get the information, get the straight facts, and then you'll be in a position to make a good quality decision about, is this important enough to me to not destroy my wife or my husband financially, but that I'll be in a position to get good quality care. That's up to you.
Attorney Mick McGuire is now providing teleconferences. Find out more about how you can take part by visiting cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or email Mick McGuire directly at info.calelderlaw@gmail.com.
As a result of the corona crisis, the California Elder Law Center must immediately cancel all free in-person workshops. However, you realize your need for information will not stop. The California Elder Law Center is making arrangements for alternative sources of information. We are beginning a series of teleconferences, videos, and complimentary forms to help you protect yourselves and your loved ones. Avoid the expenses and delays of probate. Access long-term care benefits through the VA and Medi-Cal, protecting your home and your assets. For full details and information, please call 760-422-0404. That's 422-0404. Or go to our website, www.cal-elder-law.com. That's www.cal-elder-law.com. Or send an email to info.calelderlaw@gmail.com. info@calelderlaw.com. This is Michael McGuire, elder law attorney with the California Elder Law Center. You're listening to Elder Answers. And what we're doing is adapting. What we are doing, what you are doing, is adapting to a new way of life, a new way of communicating with each other, a new way to protect yourself and your family. And this new way of doing it is just new. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just new. Now, you can dial in 760-422-0404, 422-0404, and they will set you up with access to doing our weekly updates, our weekly topic and communication electronically. You can do it over the phone or you can do it on your computer. We will have those informations available to you, and they will walk you through it and put your name on the list and show you how to take care of it. Or you can simply go to the website, www.cal-elder-law.com. calelderlaw.com. There you will see not only how to go about registering to participate, but you'll also see posted the old presentations. When I say old, you're talking about weeks old, that are broken down by topic so that you can find the one that you're most interested in. Begin the process without having to sit through an hour and a half of YouTube or something. I get it. I don't like doing it, and I know you don't either. Now, what's also great about what we're doing now and giving you this information and communicating with you every week and being able to communicate with you anywhere along the line is that you can set up a consultation electronically. That's right. We can get a consultation put together. Now, we do need you to fill out an intake form. We're not going to sit here and ask you tediously to tell us, well, what bank are you at and what's the balance? You're supposed to tell us that ahead of time so we can have an intelligent conversation. We want to know who your kids are, their children, and what their issues are. We want to know, have you thought about this? Do you know who you want to be a successor trustee? Do you want to make changes to what you're doing now? Do you want information about this process? So you fill out that intake form and we can set up an electronic conference for you. If you want to come in with your documents and bring them in, you can let us have a copy of them and we'll take a look at them for the meeting ahead of time. Or you can arrange a personal consultation in a safe room, a room that's been disinfected, that has a plastic shield between both sides of the table, that everybody is wearing a mask or a plastic face shield, whichever is more comfortable for you. A room that has a a sophisticated air purifier circulating all the air in the room and purifying it, filtering it while you are in that room. We can do all that for you. These are difficult times. I understand that, and we've done everything we can to make this safe and effective for you. People have a need to address these issues like never before. The tendency to say to yourself, well, you know what, if something happens, I'll take care of it then. That ship has sailed. I described earlier today people who are inside these facilities are barred from having anybody come in. You are not going to get much help from institutions that you would normally count on, like, the banks. We have a situation where a lady, a former school teacher, and her son, a bright, aggressive, technically sophisticated young man who is conscientious, taking care of his mother, is dealing with a scenario that is beyond the pale. This lady has had all 10 of her toes amputated. She's had all 10 of her fingers amputated. She's in a nursing home. The bank suddenly, out of nowhere, has a bureaucrat somewhere who doesn't have the ability to read or understand what they're reading, and they froze the bank account. Now, he has to make a payment to the nursing home for her share of cost aspect of it, even though she's on Medi-Cal. She does have to come up with monthly money, but they froze the bank account. I was over at the bank for 2 hours yesterday trying to educate them to what they had done. Now, the local manager is very cooperative, is trying, but she can't guarantee anything given the state of the affairs of the bank. This is not some little local bank. This is one of the largest financial institutions in the world that is utterly incapable of reading a simple document and out of nowhere made a decision to freeze and close an account. The account's closed. You can't get the money out. They're holding the money, but you can't get the money out. So we're going to take care of that. But, these are the kind of issues that are almost numbing when you are in crisis trying to take care of the healthcare part, only to discover that a financial institution doesn't have employees that they trust and they don't allow them to actually read the documents. No, I'm not saying that would happen to you. I'm not saying it happens every time. I'm saying it's happened 3 or 4 times here in the last 90 days to the point where you're saying, there's something wrong here. We spend all this amount of time trying to educate banks' employees, and the bottom line is they don't want to educate them, and they don't trust them. That's why. That's why they go through this numbing process. Suddenly, a durable power of attorney to these local branches is useless, even though it says right there on its face what the terms are. And so we have to go through that to support the family and get this taken care of. But here's the point. The point is that if you do this right up front, you can really avoid a lot of this kind of stuff. You can avoid misinformation at the facility. And I got to tell you something, what people are being told at the hospital is not a hell of a lot better. It's not that much more disaccurate. There are people working the hospitals, their whole job is to get you out the door. What about your care? Forget it. Forget it. And so you need to have sat down and thought this through. How do you want this to work? The way you want this to work, if you're sitting up there in Yucca Valley, you're sitting up there in 29 Palms, or you're up there in Joshua Tree, you're out in Beaumont, you're in Banning, where are you going to turn to get this straightened out? You're down in Brawley. You're down in Salton Sea. You are in El Centro. You need to really be thinking about how are you going to get this taken care of. And you better do it ahead of time because you're not going to have much wiggle room, I can assure you. That's the process that we're talking about. You can now do this electronically. Pick up the phone and call 422-0404. They'll set you up. 422-0404. They will set you up to participate. If you need to, they'll set you up with an appointment and show you how to go about getting a consultation. You can go to the website, www.cal-elder-law.com, cal-elder-law.com. You can get this done, but you are going to have to face the fact you are 100% responsible to start the process in motion. We really, really want you to have a quality outcome here. That's what our focus is. We have been in this business for 25 years, trying to get educated, trying to share that information with you. The rules change. Great examples, the Veterans Administration made it so much harder on you vets. They made it so much harder. And the excuse they always use is they're protecting the integrity of the program. That's a crock. All they want to do is not pay you. That's what they want to do. Why are they so worried about that program coughing up some money to help pay for your long-term care? It's because so many of you got older. For a long time, you weren't an issue. For a long time, the average vet's age wasn't a problem. What ended up happening back in when World War II and today is they passed Medicare into law, and as a result, you ladies live so much longer. And now the VA is trying to wiggle out of the promise. We're not going to let them do that, are we? We're not going to let them walk away from what they promised and their obligation. But you are not going to be able to count on walking into the VA and they're going to have somebody sitting there saying, "How can I help you, sir?" That's not going to happen. And because what you need to do is know what your rights are and how to enforce those rights and access that money. Getting an extra $2,200 a month tax-free can make all the world of difference as far as keeping you in your home. It can make a huge amount of difference if you're confronted with coughing up $4,500 to $5,000 a month for one of you to be in a memory care unit or needing to go to a board and care. All the different aspects of aging cost huge amounts of money. And it's not a 2-hour-a-day drill, is it? It's around the clock. So this is going to go to those of you that were prepared ahead of time, those of you that have empowered your family, your loved ones, or each other to move forward and take care of issues that are inevitable. They are inevitable because we live so much longer. That's what we do. We get you the information. 760-422-0404, www.cal-elder-law.com. Get the information, get yourself up to speed, get yourself protected. It's free. We come to you every week and we bring you as much information as we can gather and jam into a 1-hour show. And we love you for listening like you do and the loyalty of our listeners and the success of this show. And until next week, this is Michael McGuire saying thank you on behalf of the California Elder Law Center.
The preceding program was a paid presentation from the California Elder Law Center. The information and opinions expressed herein are solely those of the California Elder Law Center and not the opinions of K-News, Alpha Media, management, or employees.